Hey guys, it's early Saturday morning here in the Philippines, so it is time for us to do our weekend free-for-all video. And as I mentioned on Wednesday, we're going to do a couple of brief videos this weekend. The first one is going to be on the Jada Grand National in multiple scales. It's been a while since we've done a video on Jada and also a video on anything bigger than 164. So this will be kind of a good change of pace. The last time we did this was actually with Jada, and once again, one of Dom's rides. It was his 72 Plymouth GTX. So today we're going to start with the biggest one, which we have sitting here in front of us. It is the 124 scale. And this is their Jada Fast and Furious series. And this is the first release of this car. I think they've done a second release, and it says medals on it from their other like series and stuff. I'm not a big Jada connoisseur, but I am a big G-body connoisseur. So that's why I have these cars. Same thing with the 71 Plymouth, well, 72 Plymouth. GTX 71 and 72s are very similar. That's why I kind of mix up the year sometimes, like Hot Wheels did. But anyways, I'm a big fan of those cars. So those I do have from Jada. Like if I'm really into a casting, I will buy them from multiple brands. So that's why we have the G in here today to take a look at. So anyways, as I said, I think this is the first release of the F&F 87 Buick GN, and in the movie it was supposedly a GNX. This one is not a GNX. It's just a Grand National, and once I get it out, I'll show you guys why. Another reason why it's just a Grand National, not that they just forgot to put the GNX, but it really is not a GNX. So let's get him out and get a closer look at him. And the box, I usually go over the box, and I will. I'll turn it around here so you guys can see the back. And it just gives you a checklist of other cars offered in this series. And as I said, this is the first release of it, and this was from back in 2018, I believe. So there are numerous different models available nowadays. And then, as I said, there's even second releases of a bunch of them. So yeah, you're going to notice that this list here is probably a little bit outdated, but still gives you a few of them that are available. Not all of them. Even at that time, I don't think this was all of them. So, this guy I've already had out before, and as I said, I picked him up about 2 years ago, and just kind of keep him in the box to keep him from getting dusty. But as you know, I'm an opener, so everything comes out of the packages with me. So, anyways, this is a really cool casting, but kind of cartoonish. That's like a lot of times what I say and a lot of my friends say that are in the Jada, it's Jadified, meaning it has Jada proportions, Jada lines, and other things like that. Because, like, to me, these cars are thick. I don't know what else people would call it, but way too wide here. Like a Grand National G-body, you can never really see the rocker panel on these cars. The rocker panel's kind of tucked up and under the car, and basically it just looks like the bottom of the door is there, and that's it. Then, with the bumpers on the car, they are very big and bulky. Also, extra thick. And then even the front fenders have that extension here that is way too low. Even for the front valence panel, it's just not proportionally correct. And once again, the back bumper is extremely thick on the car. And then the rear, like, exhaust, they have the cutouts, because this was originally a, like, Dub City, or it wasn't Muscle, but it was, I think, Dub City release. That's why it's got these cutouts in the back and these big chrome exhaust tips and such. And usually the car would have had some big wheels on it. They at least tried to get the wheels right for the F&F car, because it just had a set of, like, black steel I call them wagon wheels, kind of just have holes in them or little triangle cutouts, cheap steel rims, sometimes used for like oval track racing, kind of like NASCAR rims in a way. The stance on this car, I think, is a little bit too low to represent the car in the movie, but still cool. It has a nice look to it. And then the reason this is not a GNX, not that there's a lot of differences between a GNX and a regular GN, because even the GNX started as a regular GN. They just sent, I think it was like 500 cars, 530 cars to McLaren and had them modified. The engine had a bigger turbo put on it, had a bigger intercooler put on it, and I think it was retuned a little bit, like computer curves and all that stuff. But they also installed a set of fender flares on it for the wide body and the deep dish reversed BBS style, or I guess you could say honeycomb style, because I think they were factory GM wheels. They may have even come from Pontiac, but they were the same thing as like a GTA Trans Am wheel. Then they put Fender Louvers on the car. And these Fender Louvers were basically to represent some Buick heritage, because Buick always used the portholes. Ever since like the 1940s, they were using those portholes in the fender, and that was kind of to give some heritage back to Buick, I believe. So those are really the only significant differences, was the wheels, the fender flares, front and rear, and then the fender portholes, and then of course the GNX emblems, and then everything else was in the suspension and in the engine. But anyways, this car, I think, yes, has an opening hood, and as you can see, it does have a slightly detailed V6 down in there, and it does have the chrome turbo with the air intake, so it adds some detail. So not too bad with the engine detail. Grand National plate, and I think painted headlights, painted marker lights. Nothing is acrylic up here. Even the return signals are not amber, they are chrome. Opening doors, and it does have mirrors on the doors, which is cool. And detailed interior, and not accurate to the movie. Of course, it's just stock, like, Buick interior. Not even accurate for GN. It doesn't have any type of detailed inserts or anything like that, but still not bad. Chrome steering wheel, chrome steering column. That's also one of the, like, pimp things from the Dub City look, I guess I could say. Then, once again, tail lights are painted, not acrylic or anything. No opening deck lid, but at least opening doors and hood, and then the body lines are nice, where they close and everything. They close very nicely. All the lines line up on both sides. So, nicely done. And nice car. It really is, and I'm actually trying to find the 1/18th version of this car. That way I have all of the scales. But they did a fine job with the car. And then Undercarriage, kind of primitive, but some details. Because Jada was kind of, I guess, to be made to look like a kid's toy, but also adult collectible. And as you can see, it has the brake rotor and calipers behind the wheel, which is very hard to see with these wheels, because most of the wheel is there. They're very solid. They're not open big 5 spokes like usual, or some big diameter open wheel that you could see the detailed calipers and rotor, but they're still there. So that's another Dub City pimp option, I guess I could say. These big tips, the brake calipers and rotors, and then the chrome steering wheel, chrome column, chrome marker lights, and things like that. But still yet, I mean, they did good with the wheels. At least it doesn't have some huge diameter black steel rims on it. That's what I was kind of concerned, that they were going to go overboard with the wheels. But they kind of were very conservative with the wheels. They kind of represent like a 15-inch still, like, oval track style wheel is what I call them. There may be certain names. Some people call them trailer wheels, wagon wheels. Some people just refer to them as NASCAR style wheels. That's what I'm going with, NASCAR style wheels. So this is the Jada Fast and Furious 87 Buick Grand National in 1/24. Now I'm going to show you the one in 1/32, and this car is actually really, really nice. This car is actually pretty good with the proportions. It doesn't have the big, bulky bumpers. The body proportions are better. It doesn't look extra thick. So let's get him out and get a look at him so you can get a close-up and see what I mean. And this one, I think, was designed for this series. The 1/32 stuff, I don't know if they did this back in the early 2000s or not. I just remember seeing it recently over the past, say, 5 or 6 years with, like, Just Trucks, Big Time Muscle, and then F&F. And this Grand National, I think, was designed just for F&F, so that's why it looks a little more realistic. And actually, the details on this is much, much nicer, in my opinion. As you can see, it's not extra thick. It's actually proportioned quite well. Even the rocker panels kind of are tucked up and under the car. It doesn't look like a ground effect. Still maybe a little bit too thick on the rockers, but not bad. It's actually pretty good. Even the wheel openings look a little more realistic on this one. Just the proportions look great on this car. Actually, it looks very, very good. The grill area is a little, I don't know, primitive looking. The headlights definitely are very primitive looking and painted, no acrylic. The turn signals are part of the body, so that's not so great. But as you can see, the bumpers are not like that really thick look. The front valence panel is correct. It doesn't wrap around like on the front of the 1/24th, so very nicely done. This does not have an opening hood, but it does have opening doors. It does not have chrome column, chrome steering wheel. Looks very subtle and basic, like a Grand National. And then the back is what impresses me on this, is it does have red acrylic tail lights and backup lights, which is very accurate. Even the lines and everything in the tail lights are very nicely done. Doesn't have the big gaudy chrome tips with the bumpers cut out. Looks very, very good. The bumper's not too thick. So this is a very nicely done. Sorry about the focusing. This is a very nicely done 1/32 car. So actually, this is the most accurate, proportionally correct Grand National that Jada makes. The 1/64th, which we're going to next, is also out of proportion with its scaling and its look and everything. This one is not, though. But as I said, this one was made, I think, for the Fast and Furious series. They never had this model beforehand. So the proportions of this car are very, very accurate. I wish I could find more of these 1/32 Grand Nationals that they have other variations. I wish I could find them here because they did a heck of a job with this. It's very nicely done. So that's the one thing I have noticed about the 1/32 stuff. It's a little more accurate on body lines and proportions. As I said, I like the 1/24th, but it's, you know, kind of cartoonish looking, kind of like Midnight Club, if you remember that game. Kind of like those style cars where you can put these really extreme body proportions on the car and like ground effect kits and such things like that. I think that's what Jada was kind of going for, is the Midnight Club look with their cars when they first started making these Dub Cities, because even Midnight Club had that Dub City edition game. So the next one we're taking a look at is the small one in our usual scale, 1/64th, and this one I've already unboxed and threw away the package. This is not a Fast and Furious release. This is an actual Dub City release from back in, I think, 2001 or something like that. Cool car, little bit big for 1/64th, but not overkill like their square bodies. They have a couple really nice drop square bodies and some lifted square bodies, but they're way too big for 1/64th. But this one's not. This one can kind of blend in even with the JL and Hot Wheels Grand Nationals that are true to scale. Then I'm talking about the new Hot Wheels one, not the old ugly one with the lift-off front end. The new F&F release, and then the JL version, meaning the one that's collaborated with Racing Champions. So this one's a little bigger than them, but not much. Not much at all. As I said, it would blend in. The only thing that makes it look ridiculous is, once again, is these big, thick bumpers that they did on this car, and then the big, oversized, gaudy front valence, front spoiler, whatever you want to call it, that wraps around onto the fenders and such. Then you can see that the back bumper is way, way too thick with the big chrome tips, the cutouts in the rear bumper. And there's a view where you could see how thick that is. It's way, way too thick. Then the body is extra thick here, and as I said, it kind of drops down on the rockers on this one and the 1/24th, also the 1/18th too. Fortunately, I don't have the 1/18th to show you guys, but it just looks like they were trying to make the rocker panels look like side skirts for a body kit or something like that. But it's still not bad. I like the black centered 5-spoke wheels. They look really, really good. So the diameter of these wheels are not overkill. I had a couple of like candy colored Buicks from Jada, but I've since traded them, so I don't have them to show you guys, but they had big wheels on them. And then the chrome bumpers really look bad on them because they're like very, very noticeable. They stick out like a sore thumb, but at least these ones that are painted black kind of blend in with the rest of the car, so it doesn't look too bad. And one thing cool about this one is that it's metal on metal, and the base is screwed down, so if you did get the urge to do a wheel swap, it would be very easy, and you wouldn't have to alter the car too much. And another thing that's really cool on this one is it has really nice mirrors. And actually, the only other Grand National 1/64th that had mirrors was Racing Champions before they collaborated with Johnny Lightning back in the late 90s, but they were a little bit not proportionally correct. They looked a little bit out of place, and they were very easy to break off, and they drilled big holes in the doors to mount them. These are actually part of the casting, similar to like what Green Light does with some of theirs, which is very cool and which is very strong. They don't break really easy. So it's kind of a durable feature having it as part of the casting. So very nice car. We've taken a look at this before, I think, when I've done my other Grand National reviews of like 1/64th, comparing different castings. So as I said, the Jadas are nice. They're just a little bit cartoonish looking, video game looking, except for the 132nd. The 132nd is really nice with its proportions, and if they would have just did a little bit more front end detail, it would have been an extremely nice model. So that's it, guys. Those are your 1/64th, 132nd, and 1/24th Buick Grand National from Jada. So, I recommend them. As I said, don't be disappointed when you take them out of the box and look at them and they're kind of cartoonish looking. It's not like the actual one-to-one car, except for the 132nd. So, this wraps up this video, guys. Tomorrow, I will bring you another video on some mini GT Lamborghini Hurricanes. One that is done up with the Liberty Walk silhouette kit in white, and then a stock Evo edition in that Mars Razzo Red, I think it's called. So we'll be looking at those two. So make sure you tune back in for that. And if you guys have not subscribed yet, please remember to do so. Give me a thumbs up and share the video and tell your friends about my channel. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your Saturday.